Hey guys, it's Ren, and welcome back to the practice range and the channel. So, today I'm going to be covering what gauntlets synchronize together really well. And we're going to start off the show with fire. So, fire will sync with wind, but only in the tornado. It'll cause a burning tornado that'll cause burn damage to players that get stuck in it. Also, it'll curve your projectiles around it after it's already got a status effect on it. So, for example, you hit it with fire and then you can throw it and fire will curve around it. You can also use this to get different angles on things. I've seen people use it to actually hit shots around things. So it can be pretty technical, I would believe is the right word. So moving on. Now, Toxicologist is going to be one of the better ones to run with fire, mostly because they synergize really well. When you combine Toxic and fire, it's known as Dragon Fire, and it does more damage than your typical fire. So say you take 5 damage there, you're going to take 20 damage there. Now this also works on the Toxic Cloud. You can hit a place and then you can light it on fire and it'll do extra damage. It can be really effective. One thing to watch out for when you're running Tox, period, especially if you're running Tox and fire, is building up a spot where you might end up being and then lighting it on fire by accident yourself. It can get you exiled. You also want to watch out and see if anybody else is using fire, because you using Toxicologist and them using fire could be a downside for you or an upside for you. It's really a toss of the coin when it comes to it. Just keep in mind that there are situations that are going to be bad for you. Like, you never become unimmune to your toxic puddle, so you're always going to have to watch out for your toxic puddle. So just keep an eye on that and make sure that you don't end up stuck in your own toxic. Hey guys, Future in here. So I just realized as I was editing the video that I forgot to mention that you never also become immune to your own fire from your fireball. Now the fireball you will become immune to at a certain skill level, but the fireball, like your main sorcery, is gonna still cause a splash effect for you. So if you shoot a wall near you, you will take a splash effect from it if it's close enough, and if it ignites the ground and you walk over it, you will take a burn effect. So I just wanted to put that out there. And I also wanted to mention that I do believe if you throw stone straight up in the air and you get hit by your own boulder, you will also take the damage. So those are a few things to watch out for. I do believe those are the only things that are gonna really hurt you back. So if I missed something, let me know. But back to Old Run. So the next one that synergizes with fire is Stone. Now Stone, you can carry the fire, and I figured this out earlier that you can carry it as long as you're willing to keep hitting stone across the fire that you're making, but it can keep going a long ways. Now the next way that fire and stone synergize is with the sorcery for stone. You can hit it with a fire and it'll cause a meteorite effect, which will cause burn damage and possibly even a little extra damage when they lands on them, in addition to the 50 damage or whatever range damage your boulder is supposed to do at the range that you hit, with the addition of burn damage. Now ice doesn't really synergize with much, but I will go over it. It does synergize the best with lightning, and that's when you have ice on the ground and you hit it with lightning. It'll cause the shock effect for anybody that's nearby it. Same thing for when there's water on the ground after the ice melts. Now, ice doesn't really mix well with anything, like I said earlier. There are a few things that do cause status effects that you might want to watch out for. So, for instance, if someone's using Tox and they have a toxic spray on the ground, you can freeze it, and it's safe to walk on. You can also freeze a toxic cloud. I wouldn't really consider that being synergistic, but it does prevent them from using it for anything and you taking damage from it. So I guess you could say it synergizes. Another way that it could synergize is when there's toxic puddles on the ground, you could possibly use the ice to skate on them. Now, Ice's sorcery, or its secondary attack, does not combine with anything. In fact, it actually, I think it blocks most things. So just keep that in mind. One thing I will mention when it comes to fire is whenever you shoot ice on the ground, it'll turn into steam. You can refreeze the steam, and you can hit it with lightning, or you can just hit it with fire and cause more steam to come back up. So there's that. Another thing, when you're maining ice, you're going to want to watch out for situations where you have ice on the ground and somebody uses a boulder, because it will cause you to get the slow effect and freeze yourself. Or not boulder, but stone shaper. So that's one thing to watch out for. The same effect can happen with wind. So if you have ice on the ground and somebody hits it with wind, the mist does create the slowed effect and will freeze you if you're in it long enough. Now, essentially we have covered everything already, but there are a few things that I would like to point out about wind. Wind is more of a defensive gauntlet. I couldn't get the footage, nor could I replicate the situation in here by using teleport or flight. And you can actually divert boulders. And I really wanted to get the footage for y'all, and I tried so many different ways to get it. But I just never had the situation where someone was using stone and threw a boulder at me, and I actually had the opportunity to deflect it. That being said, it is possible. But you can't really do it on your own. I did forget one thing. So there are triple combinations. Usually it's wind. I believe it's wind, fire, and lightning usually. Or it can be toxic, lightning, and fire, and ice. So there could be quadruple combinations. I'm gonna try to pull that off, but I don't think I'm gonna be able to. Hey guys, Future Ren here again. Now, I want to take this moment to notice and point out that I use wind with toxic, fire, and lightning, which I also forgot to mention earlier. So, please keep that in mind. That is an available thing. Poison or toxic will do a corrosion effect similar to walking on an ice puddle or the toxic puddle. Lightning will do the same status effect that it always does, which is just shock you. And fire will cause the burn effect. Now back to Oldrun. But there is also toxic, ice, and lightning, which will do the status effect. And I believe if you hit this with fire, it'll still explode. So it could be a triple whammy, just kind of like the tornado. And I think that about covers it. Now there might be something I missed, and I do apologize, but I do appreciate y'all for watching and all the support I've gotten this year. So I just wanted to say thank you and add that in this video because this one's rather short. So I appreciate all of y'all, and I hope to see you again soon.